Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Generation Y from 4:30 to 5:30 every Sunday on IQRA TV. I'd like to introduce you to my guests, Daud and Bilal. Assalamu alaikum. And I've got Talha on my left.
Assalamu alaikum.
Today's topic is going to be about people and influences. Influences will be the main topic more or less because influences, a lot of people are influenced by people like family, friends, relatives, etc. like that. But first I'd like to talk about is parents, as parents are the people that will have a big influence on you. It's open to the floor. What do you think about parents' influence on you or on a particular person?
I think that parents at a young age have a really big impact on you just because of the fact that they're the ones who brought you up. And you know what people say is that if you don't have good mannerisms or if you don't act in a good way, that really reflects on your parents, and that's where your parents' influence comes into play, which is that if you don't exactly perform as well as you should, your parents are at fault.
Yeah, I guess you could say that because obviously when a kid grows up, they're always looking up to their parents, especially from the younger ages, from like 0 to 6 or 1 to 6, they're always looking up to their parents. So whatever the parents do, they almost copy.
Some people don't have parents, like people like, for example, orphans, for example, they don't have a mum and dad, unfortunately. Who would their influence be?
Well, they just have to, they said that you're on average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and orphans, they're probably going to be surrounded by other orphans or caretakers, and therefore they're just going to look up to caretakers and people around them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both Dawood and Bilal. Obviously, parents influence you the most from a very young age. They want to bring you up. Obviously, you learn everything from your parents from the young age, and as you grow older, you take that with you. Just like small things, how you eat, how you dress, all come from your parents.
But when you grow older, like a lot of people, they'll say they become independent and they're ready to move out, ready to get married and all that. And they don't want to take their parents' advice on it and stuff like that. So do you think your parents' influence is up to a certain level, then after that it wears off and your influence is by others and you're more independent in that sense?
I feel like that age is at a later age where you've gone through puberty and like basically you're around, I guess, maybe 15, 16, 17, even 8. Usually it's around 18 because at that point you feel like you're independent, you're quite self-responsible, like you're responsible for yourself, your own actions, and that's at that point is where a lot of people seem to cut ties with their parents, as in terms of responsibility.
Do you think that's a good thing?
I feel like that gives that individual a lot of responsibility, and that's something that they should learn to come to terms with, because if they don't come to terms with it at that age, later on in life when they have other responsibilities like a car, a house, a family, it becomes really hard for them to, take on that responsibility then.
But like parents, for example, they want you to become a certain way, they want you to dress a certain way. For example, say, I don't know, your mum wants you to wear a shirt, tie, blazer every single day, for example. It doesn't happen, but I'm just saying an example. But you want to wear joggers, Adidas joggers or something like that, you want to wear some joggers. Do you think that that at first you listen to your parents, but when you get older, you won't listen to them generally because you hit puberty, like you said? But do you think that's respectful towards your parent, or is it just the fact that you're changing, your hormones are kicking in, you want to do certain things, you want to live a certain way? Would you say that's disrespectful, or would you say that's just who you're going to be?
I don't think that's really disrespectful. When you get older, you like to be more independent, I think. So obviously you listen to what your parents say from, like I said before, very young age. But when you get older, you like to become independent. So it's not really disrespectful in a way, because at the end of the day, you're going to live your own life. Like you're going to get married off, you might not live with your parents, and obviously your parents will be there then to tell you what to wear, to tell you what to do, etc.
Yeah, I agree, because from a younger age, you're always with your parents and you're always going to be with other family members, and you're going to adapt to the things that they do and you're going to follow the things that they do. But as soon as you get older, you have that freedom, and you start hanging around people with your choice, maybe people on the street or people in school, and if those guys are if they're always listening to their parents and doing the right stuff, you'll be influenced to do that as well. But if they're if they're becoming independent and they're making their own choices, then you're going to feel like you should do the same?
I don't know, in some houses there might be a conflict between like parents and friends. What I mean by that is, like, say there's a child and he wants to do something with his friends and his parents are a bit wary and they don't want him to go out, maybe because his friends are a bad influence. They think, for example, say your friends smoke, for example, and it's not good to smoke, and your parents don't want you to go out smoking, but your friends are like encouraging you to smoke and you go smoke. It's a bad influence on you and your parents try to stop you, but say you rebel, it's a disrespectful thing. So do you think parents should always have that right to say to you who your friends are, even when you're, say, 25, 26, 27, and you're married? Do you think that your parents should have a say in that?
Well, obviously you're your own person, so your parents never gonna like fully. They're gonna understand you the most, and obviously they always want what's best for you, and they feel that they know that, and most of the time they do. But normally the child, maybe they want to choose their own friends because they feel like they're grown up. So sometimes the parent should allow the child to choose to be with whoever they want to be with.
Yeah.
I feel like at a younger age they do have that say in who you should and shouldn't be friends with, but I feel like later on in life they expect you to know who you should and shouldn't be hanging around with, and you know that's your responsibility to find, you know, the right group of friends to hang around with, and you know who you feel like is a good influence on you or what you want to do, really.
Yeah, there's definitely a certain age up to where your parents will tell you what to do, who your friends are. But I think, like he said before, you get a certain age, like 16, 17, when you want to become more independent, when you have your own friends, then obviously you know what's right and wrong. So like you said before, if you want to hang around with friends that are smoking, that's up to you. And obviously it can be disrespectful to your parents if your parents, like before, didn't want you to hang around with people like that. But obviously then it's up to you. It's your own choice for hanging around with them kind of people.
Like, for example, like your friends, you'll think, okay, right, you say there's a person who's influenced by his friends, but his friends are influenced by, for example, celebrities. For example, the celebrity might be a rapper, and like nowadays rappers in the lyrics, they'll talk about different things, and maybe things like that influence them to want to do things like that. For example, like you might hear something to do with, I don't know, cocaine, for example. You might want to do something like that, or something to do with drugs, alcohol, etc. And it's bad for the person at the end of the day. It can affect their health, and Islamically it's haram. So you got celebrities like even footballers, like for example Cristiano Ronaldo. He might look like an attractive player, plays football in an attractive way, and it attracts people to the sport. And that, like for example, people want to wear the Ronaldo shirt, they want to play Ronaldo way, they want to do the skills he does, etc. So celebrities are a big influence. Do you think celebrities or friends or parents is the bigger influence in society these days?
I feel like, you know, when you get to that certain age, like I said, when you become that independent person, I feel like you only become that independent person because you have so many other influences around you. So like you said, celebrities, like they'll have that effect on you, and you know you'll be encouraged to do like what they're doing, and that's where, you know, some people like to copy some celebrities and do what they're doing because it's perceived as quite cool and like what's to do today.
Yeah, it depends on like who you are. Like if you're really interested in football, then you're going to want to do everything that a really good footballer such as Ronaldo does. But if you're into fashion and hip hop, you're going to want to do everything that these celebrities do. And obviously with the system these days, the celebrities are always on about being in gangs and doing drugs and doing cool things like that, and that's when it has a bad influence on those kind of people interested in being cool and being accepted.
You know, like for example, there's been murders at young ages where people, like I read an article last week in America, there was a stabbing in a house party. The parents went on holiday and they left the child at home, and the child's at the house party. No harm in having a party here and there, but do you think that there should be some ground rules set down for kids or even teenagers, to be honest? Even if you're at that 18, 19 years old, the fact that someone's life was lost at a house party over something stupid and trivial is a big thing.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, your parents, like I said, they influence you, so obviously you just should set out rules. Like you said about a house party, leaving, obviously your parents would trust you, that's why they'll leave you alone. But then again, it's your choice in what you do. Like maybe that person's parents didn't know that he was gonna have a house party, So again, it's all up to you.
Do you think that's down to the parents to blame again because they've left the child at home? It was their job. They went on holiday, and the fact that they should have stayed at home with the kid, even if they didn't think that he's gonna be irresponsible and stuff. Shouldn't they think about the pros and cons?
But obviously, they'll trust the child if the child's like over, say, 16 years old, because obviously, child then they know what they're doing. You know, most children 16, 17, 18, they're mature enough to, you know, follow their own steps and make their own choices. So obviously, it can be the parents' fault for leaving them alone, but obviously it's their fault as well for not taking that step in, you know, respecting their parents and respecting, you know, just inviting anyone randomers to their house.
I think that definitely, like, some parents do that, and what you need to understand is that at the end of the day, them parents are still people, and they do have other lives outside of their kids. And although being a parent or like a mother or father is a really big deal and it is a really big responsibility, you know, they still have a right to go out and do the things. Of course, their kids should come first, but definitely, like, their kids should, you know, understand that their parents still have a life outside of them, and they should be allowed to go do other things while given the responsibility to hold things down at home.
You know, like, for example, there's a lot of youth, for example, maybe on drugs or they're drinking and that. Do you blame that down to parents? Or, for example, like in Islam, we've got imams, for example, and like imams, for example, they like in Jummah khutbah, they give reminders about that. You shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And I've heard, for example, on Jummah khutbah that where the imam's talking about the youth, saying that the youth are doing this, your youth are doing that. But then it leads to the question in my head thinking, what are you doing other than standing on the Jummah khutbah, knowing that these kids, these youth, these teenagers that are doing drugs, the chances of them coming to read Jummah at the mosque is going to be very low. Some might come, but I'm talking generally. Let's say they don't come. How are they going to know that it's bad? Okay, they might know it's bad, but then how are they going to be advised and stuff? At the end of the day, we're all humans. We're all going to do something wrong. We all make mistakes. At the end of the day, we're human. So what should people do? Like, for example, imams who have a big influence, the fact that they've got a lot of responsibility, the fact that they've got all that knowledge in them, shouldn't they, like, go onto the streets and go to the youth and talk to them, be on a level with them and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think obviously, like you said, Jummah khutbah is the only place where you'll see loads of youth go every week, and that's the only place I'll see imams talk about the youth, and there's no other, like you said, they're not coming out to the street, and imams should do that more. They should come out to the streets, you know, make posters for the youth, you know, to tell the youth what they're doing, what's wrong, what's bad. You know, regular, like, youth clubs. You don't have to be about Islam, but youth clubs to get young youth into the mosques and, you know, do more with them like that.
I feel like at a young age, we've all grown up at mosque, and you've been at a mosque for quite a long time, like from the age of, say, you know, but a very young age to, say, even 13, 14, and that's where, you know, that's where the biggest impact is that the imam can make, is making some type of relationship with that child and, you know, carrying that through even after they leave that mosque.
You know, mosque, it's like we're sent when we're younger, and it's seen as like a compulsory thing, like school. Like, what happens as soon as everyone leaves school, everyone's happy, everyone's jumping up and down, and mosque, it shouldn't be like that. Kids should be taught in a way where they actually want to go to mosque and want to learn. That way, after they leave, they're still going to have the knowledge, and they're going to want to spread it with other people and maybe their kids in the future.
You know, like, for example, now they might hold events where they do talks, where these imams from, I don't know, from these countries come and they do talks, and they're well-known imams, for example, and they talk and they give these talks, but they give talks related, okay, they're Islamically related, but the fact that the youth are going to be the big thing next, at the end of the day, once that generation is gone, it's going to be the next youth, and each generation is getting worse. And the Prophet said that it will get worse, but we can slow that down by educating the youth. They can go onto the streets. They don't have to just sit in there and just, at the end of the day, they've got that knowledge in them. They've got a big responsibility on their head, and I feel that they should go onto the streets, like Talha said, and speak to people. You shouldn't go around saying to people, you need to come to the mosque and pray, don't smoke, don't drink, and just go all extreme on them. You should slowly, it's like, for example, say you've got an addict, a drug addict, he's not going to get off the drug straight away, it'll be slower, he'll take less doses, for example, of a certain drug, let's say, less amount each time, and then slowly he'll come off it. It's like that. It's like, now say you've got someone who doesn't pray at all, and the imam comes up to them and says, you need to pray, or even parents, for example, the person, your child don't pray, you shouldn't go and say to him, you need to pray, pray. It's their responsibility at the end of the day too, so they have to advise, but there's a way and there's a mannerism of doing it. Obviously, if they don't listen eventually, you are going to get annoyed. Everyone's going to get annoyed. For example, if I say to Bill, I'll do this and he don't listen to me, and I'm asking him to do something, he's not listening, it is going to get annoying and it is going to get you angry, but they should come across in a way that's going to make you think, yeah, okay, they've asked me in such a way, I don't listen. I'm not saying there aren't parents out there, there aren't teachers out there, there aren't imams out there, there aren't people out there. I know loads of people that are like that and know how to explain and they're good at explaining things, but I think the main thing is parents and imams, for example, they need to think about their ways, the way they come across to the youth and talk to them and explain it in a decent way. What do you think about that?
I think that the only way that happens is if, they have that type of relationship with the child where they can, talk about stuff like that quite openly. And, nowadays you don't get that quite a lot. You don't get, imams or, or the elders just, trying to make that relationship with kids. I'm not saying that that's with all parents, but or imams, but there are quite a few that just they can't cross that barrier. They just can't make it over, and that's where some kids just don't get the message and they go down the wrong path, or they choose their own path.
But a lot of kids come back from school, for example, they'll finish school, say they finish school at 3:30, they'll get home, quickly get changed, put the clothes on before the clock, they'll start mosque 4 till 7. It's a long time to be sitting mosque 4 till 7, no break. The fact that they go to mosque and stuff, it is their responsibility as well at the end of the day, because they're getting that knowledge that they should go and advise others. Because the Prophet said that a person who witnesses, a person whose dua isn't going to be accepted by Allah is a person who doesn't, when sees wrong, doesn't tell them that they do, advise them. And then they say you're listening to music and you go to someone and say don't listen to music, we listen to music, it's not right. But like for example, say I'm with you a lot and we're going to go and it's prayer time, I should encourage you to say, come on, let's go pray namaz at our mosque, or let's go pray namaz even here. Because at the end of the day, you can pray your namaz anywhere. Allah said that He's made the world a place for prayer where you can pray. Everywhere is a place you can pray. So I think it's everyone's responsibility, even with that little bit of knowledge, that you should try helping each other. And the fact that your du'as will be answered by helping each other is a big thing, because then at the end of the day you can ask for Allah to help you pass your exams, to give you an easier life, to make your parents happy, to give them Jannah, etc., stuff like that. So I think it's a big role on us as well to advise people and say to them, yeah, that it's a good thing, do tell them about good things and try discouraging the bad stuff.
Yeah, just like Dawood said before, it's like a compulsory thing to go to mosque from a young age, but I think that compulsory age, when you get older, I think that stops, and you're not encouraged to go to mosque as often. Like our age, 16, 17 years old, we're not encouraged to go to mosque quite often, but younger children are, like you said before, they'll come from school, go straight to mosque for 3 hours, and I think that stops at a certain age, and that's what the imams need to do more, obviously encourage more youth to go to the mosque as well as children.
And for example, say people encourage, they say it's better to pray your namaz in the mosque, obviously. And say, for example, I don't know, your dad or your brother, older brother doesn't go to the mosque to go pray. I think it's a big thing that, obviously, you try your best. Obviously, if you can't get to the mosque, maybe it's not near to you, then it's understandable. Pray at home, do the minimum. But if there is for example, say there's a mosque next to you, you can't pray, go to it, even walk. For example, say you go to the gym and say miss your cardio, jog to the mosque, for example, and then jog back. You've done your cardio there, you go to the gym, do your weight training, and then come back. You've done it, you've got your reward, and you've jogged there. You've got your reward for going to the mosque, you've jogged there, and for every right step, you gain reward, and for every left step, you get a sin taken away, and that's a big reward for just going walking to the mosque. So I think people should try fitting religion and, like, for example, Islam into their lives, then fitting their lives around Islam.
I think that really does depend on your surroundings, because if you're surrounded by a bunch of people that are always going to go read namaz, no matter how far the mosque is, you're also going to be encouraged to do that. However, if you're surrounded by people and like social media who are not interested and who are always on about like fashion and stuff like that, you're not really going to be encouraged to. This is why I think imams, instead of really going out into the streets, they should try and promote themselves like on social media, because that's where all the youth are.
Yeah, definitely social media is a big impact on today's society, today's youth. Everyone has it. We all must have, at least 3 social media accounts. And like Bilal said, yeah, they should promote on social media more, because because that's where, you know, like we said before, children come home from school, they go straight to mosque. Us youth, we go to school and come straight home. We go on our phone for like a couple of hours. Yeah.
I think that parents aren't full. I think they do have a lot of responsibility in it, but I also think that the child or the person themselves do as well, because say your parents are a good person saying to your parent, you be disrespectful and say to him no, then it's a big thing on you, and that it isn't something that's respectful and it's not good. At the end of the day, for example, say you're rude to your mum, your mum's, it's a big thing to be disrespectful to your mum, for example. We all do it. I'm sure we've all been rude. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've done things where I've been rude, and yeah, you do regret it, and you should go up to your mum and apologise, or your dad and apologise. It's human. You make mistakes, but there's a limit, and you've got to understand where the limit is and where the line is. And if there's a bad influence on you that's making you do certain bad things and certain things that aren't good, and they're not really pleasing, then you should stop it. You should advise them. And then if that's not working, then cut off that relation. It shouldn't be one of those where you revolve your stuff around a certain thing, or for example, say you like to smoke, for example, and you want to go all the time out smoke, but your mum wants you to stay at home. For example, say she's a single parent, she's at home, she's on her own, and she feels like she needs a son at home, and your son's always, and he's going out to smoke and this and that. Her mum's gonna be worried where he's always gone. When's he gonna be home? The fact that he's going to be smoking, his health's getting ruined, and the fact that she's only got him left in her life, it's not a good thing. So people like that need to wake up, and it's not too late, it's never too late, and that you should take responsibility and take control of your actions and not do these bad things, and try your best to not do them.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, you know, you do end up having to, you know, own up to, you know, the mistakes you made, and, you know, whatever responsibility you've got, you should, you know, own up to it, and eventually it comes back, and, you know, nothing ever stays hidden forever, and it always does come back, and, you know, that's, you know, your responsibility to actually, you know, either, you know, fess up to it, or it's your responsibility to just make yourself a better person at the end of the day, because something like that, such an influence like that shouldn't really, you know, control your life.
Yeah, like these influences that the younger generation pick up, like being rude to their parents, it doesn't just naturally come out of nowhere. They learn it from other people, or they learn it from other TV shows and stuff like that. This is where growing up and parenting comes into play. Like if you raise your kid right, obviously not all down to the parents, it's down to the people they're surrounded by in school and the TV, whatever they watch. But if you grow up around good people and respectful people, and like you don't watch all these action movies where they're really rude and stuff like that, then of course you're going to grow up, and inshallah you'll be good, you'll be fine.
It's like, for example, you got TV influences a lot of people, like say these Pirates of the Caribbean, let's say, and you got Johnny Depp, and someone like Johnny Depp a lot, they'll want to be a pirate, so they'll poke their eye out and put a crap on there and be like, yeah, I'm Johnny Depp. So TV has a lot of influence on people. The fact that the way people dress, they try to copy people on TV, the way they talk, even the way they talk, you get people where they'll mimic the way the person talks, and they'll want to be like them, to the extent where some guys you'll see wearing makeup just to look like a certain people. Like you see on YouTube, some people do all this contouring and all this just to look like Ronaldo, for example, and it's a bit shocking that people go to that limit.
No, that is really like that is really taking it to the extreme, and some people do actually do that, and that's where, you know, influences like TV and social media really do impact someone's life like that.
Yeah, like really popular people like Ronaldo, who like everyone looks up to him, but then there's some people that really look up to him and really just want to be like him. Like obviously everyone thinks Ronaldo's really cool, but then
it's like you got people copying his haircut and whatnot. Everything's just copying him, for example.
They become your role models.
Yeah, like to become what you want to become like them. Like for example, David Beckham, everyone's getting a comb over a haircut just to become like David Beckham, or for example like Ronaldo.
Yeah, like your role models, and we were talking about before, we want the imams to come out and imams to be the role models, but right now it's all the celebrities. Why? Because they've got the Instagram followers and they've got the Snapchat friends. But if we get imams out there and get them promoted and get them popular, then they're going to be the role models to the younger generation.
We're going to go for a break now, guys. We'll be back shortly after the break, so stay tuned in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.